Hello guys, welcome to another weekly breakdown video. Now this is a very tricky week to make a video because of how the market is in right now. The market moves in cycles, as we know. It goes from bullish to bearish to then consolidation, right? We know that the market can only be bullish, bearish, or consolidating. So for now the market has been consolidating for some weeks now. It's been consolidating for 3 weeks, and whenever the market is consolidating and it's choppy, it's very difficult, as in not high probability to trade. Whenever the market is doing something like this, you can trade some other assets or some other things like gold and all, because they trend if they are trending. And whenever GBP USD is trending, you can trade GBP USD, right? And the analysis is same from some weeks now, because this is the same demand we are looking for. The demand was this one last time, but this demand was not respected, as we can see here. Now this is the demand, and after this demand is not respected, if this demand is mitigated like this, not respected, then I will mark this demand right here, and it goes on and on like this. In weekly, we mark the demand if the trend is bearish, to know where it's headed to, because the market moves from a demand to a supply or a supply to a demand. The market can only, in the markets, it can only go from a demand to a supply or a supply to a demand. That's what's happening in the market, something like this. We have to figure out where the market is in right now, and according to that we have to take the trades. So the weekly bias here is, my weekly bias is not clear. Clearly you can see when the market was doing something like this, my weekly bias was bearish, because it closed as a bearish candle like this, and it made sense to go to the downside, something like that. So looking at the previous weekly candles, my overall weekly trend is bearish, obviously nobody can deny that, but for now it's choppy, so the weekly bias was not clear. So that's the first red flag. Whenever the weekly bias is not clear, that is the first sign that that week is not high probability week to trade. Sometimes those situations will also be there in the market. Obviously these are the financial markets, nothing is perfect here, so you have to adapt. So even on DXY, looking at DXY, my bias was not clear. Even on Euro USD, the bias was not clear. So what I did was I wrote some callouts. Whenever the weekly bias is not clear, the market is choppy, it becomes a low probability week to trade. Look, I have written here, I have written this because I have figured it out, and while I was backtesting, literally I didn't got any trades. Even if I got, the bias was not clear, I was not confident taking those trades, right? While trading continuation setups, don't try to chase the markets. If you've missed the first fair value gap entry in M15, then don't chase the market. Okay, so one more thing I've written here was, whenever we are trading continuation setups, obviously we are waiting for M15 fair value gap to get mitigated, right? So if the first fair value gap is not respected, don't try to chase the market, wait for the first fair value gap, or don't trade. And even here in this week, the continuation model doesn't make sense because of this, how this weekly bias is looking. To continue to look for buys, we need the price to rebalance price and reject, but it also didn't. So okay, this is in the daily. Whole day there was news and the markets were manipulated. Okay, so I have written all of those things. I will show you now. The weekly bias is clearly not clear, so now let me show you the daily bias without wasting any time. On the daily time frame, we can see the market was bearish, making lower highs and lower lows. Clearly it was a falling knife somewhere around here. Lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, higher highs. Markets change character here. So what I anticipated was this was the higher low to then continue to the upside, targeting this draw of liquidity right here. But the market had something different in plan. Clearly you can see last week did nothing, but it was a choppy week. Market went up, down, doji, doji, doji. So this week on Monday, my bias was not clear, and even looking on USD, that is DXY, my bias was not clear. So what I will do now is, my bias is not clear, and also let me show you the news. On Monday there was no news. Even on my economic calendar, Monday there was no news. So okay, if the bias was clear, it would have been a high probability day to trade, because there was no news, right? Even in the 4 hour, I look for price action, right? The market was clearly bullish. This week I caught many beautiful buys because of the price action was so clean. But now you can see, bro, just by seeing, you can say the market is not doing anything here, going up down at the same place. That's called choppy market, and also called ranging markets, right? Now if I show you the H4 analysis, nothing here. From next time when I'm analyzing the week, what I will do is I will not take out the Asian highs lows. I will keep that there, and previous day highs and lows also. I will every time I'll mark the new ones. Okay, so going on Monday, my bias was not clear, so on Monday I didn't took the trade. I waited for Monday to close. Monday clearly closed as a bullish candle, right? Sorry, yeah, obviously we can see that Monday clearly closed as a bullish candle right there. Right now my bias is a bit clear, not clear to be honest. My weekly bias is not clear yet, but how, according to how Monday closed, it makes sense to go up, right? Tuesday to continue. Keeping that in mind, I was looking for any potential trades, if we will get any. Also, you can see to continue to look for buys, like on Monday close like this, right? To continue to look for buys, I needed the price to rebalance the price here, give a weak rejection, and then continue. Why I have written that there because of how this candle closed. To continue to look for buys, I would like something like this, obviously exactly like this, but a wick, so that it is showing us that it is now rebalance the price here, as we know the rebalance of price, and then now it's rejecting from here to continue to the upside. You may be asking, from where do you know the rebalance of price? So many concepts, bro. I learned it from Sal Sanchez course, and yeah, it's a very, very useful thing. So now Tuesday I was looking for buys, or I was not looking for anything, to be honest, because it was not yet clear. On Tuesday there was also a whole bunch of news. You can see whole day there was news, clown change, manufacturing PMIs. So Tuesday was a no trade day for me, to be honest. And if I was looking for something, if I was desperate, I would trade this demand zones right here. And also let me show you the DXY bias was also not that clear. Monday closed as a bearish candle, Tuesday closed as a bullish candle again, so it was very, very choppy. The markets are not at the right condition to be traded right now according to our strategy. The best thing you can say is that one. So on Tuesday I was looking for nothing again, and if I was looking for something, that would be this buys right here. And also I was looking for buys here, but I refined the zone according to this, right? I refined the zone here, and even this zone was not respected. This was M30 demand, this demand zone, because of how this Asian range closed, but this was not respected. If we had taken a trade here, forcefully, we would have lost it. And whole day there was a lot of news. Yeah, I have also written a whole day there was news, and the markets were manipulated. And I've also noticed whenever there is Euro all day news or high impact news throughout the day, the markets are very, very high likely to be manipulated. I have seen that a gazillion of times now in the markets, and yeah, we have to learn from that. Yeah, so now Tuesday has closed, Monday went up, Tuesday came totally down, engulfing the previous candle. So obviously Wednesday also my bias is not clear, because it's not following one single trend, it's going up, down. So on Wednesday also my bias was not clear, and on Wednesday there was no such high impact news. Yeah, there was no news on Wednesday. So now if I show you the 4-hourly time frame, the bias is not clear, right? But now if I show you the 4-hour time frame, finally the market has went to the upside, making a higher high, changing character to the upside, right? Break of structure to the upside, and now we can anticipate, this is the demand that caused this huge move, right? Now the market is in this demand, we can anticipate a move from here to the upside. The bias is not clear, but I am predicting this. You don't want to do this, right? This is not with your bias, this is not showing anything. You are predicting this move, so which you don't want to do in the markets, and you will learn this. I was anticipating that, but on Wednesday, if I was looking for something, that would be sells, because of how this Tuesday candle closed, and I waited for the Asian range to close. Obviously Asian range, without the Asian range closing we can't do nothing. So Wednesday did give us the sells, and it was a continuation setup. I tried to force a trade here. I remember exactly at this position I tried to force a trade somewhere around here, and we will learn why we shouldn't. This is the reason why we should not force a trade. I have written this here, right? The fair value gap thing. Don't try to chase the markets or something like that. To continue to look for buys, we need the price. Okay, while trading continuation setup, don't try to chase the markets. There was a fair value gap right here, and also there was a fair value gap right here. I tried to chase the market. At first, the first fair value gap was not respected. So what did I do? I tried to force a trade here, and and I would have lost it. So in this kind of situation, you don't want to chase the market. And yeah, if you don't chase the market, you're good. And if you try to chase the market, you can't chase the market, bro. Sorry, but you can't chase the market. And clearly on Wednesday, the bias was now a little bit clearer. On Wednesday it was bearish. The weekly bias is still not clear. Where it's going, we don't know, but the Wednesday is finally giving us bearish candles, so we can look for sells if we want to desperately trade this. To be honest, in the live markets, if the market is doing something like this, a trend is not followed, I will not trade directly. That's my rule. Okay, after backtesting, I will make a new trading plan and I will add this rule there. And on Tuesday it was a bullish candle, Wednesday it was a bullish candle. So going on Thursday, I can look for sells, but on Thursday there was a lot of news again. Thursday there was a lot of news again. Fed Chair Powell speech, main refinancing rate. We could have traded London session on Thursday. Let me show you how. On H4 now on the H4 time frame, like I said, this demand zone was not respected like I predicted. That's why you don't want to predict the market. Now it is going down, so there is a supply zone here, change of character right here to the downside. So now we can look for sells from, at first I have marked, let's wait for Thursday to close first. At first I have marked this M30 supply right here, but according to the Asian range we have to adapt, right? We adapt to the market, so I have marked this M15 supply again. Let me show you if it get respected or not. So I was looking for sells from this at first, but according to how this Asian range closed, I quickly adapted the market to this M15. And remember, bro, each and every trade I am correlating with DXY and also looking at the targets. Whenever the targets are clear, the trade is very high probability. The previous week low was already swept, so it was a low probability day again, and the rest is history. And also one thing, bro, if DXY has a clear target and it's going towards with huge momentum, then we can take the trade on the contrary on GBP USD, because they do opposite, right? And whenever there is a clear target, it is a very high probability trade, it seems. The whole day the London session was consolidating, as we can see. Whole day the London session was consolidating right here. And whenever the London session is consolidating, we know that London session is consolidating. That means there were no buyers, no selling happening here, because I am confused. Everyone is confused in the market right now because no one is buying and selling. Then how will we know our strategy, how our edge will play out? Yeah, so this supply zone I marked was not respected. Even this supply zone was not respected, I guess. And even Thursday was a no trade day. And this whole week was very tricky, and we got to learn a lot of things. But yeah, it was not a high probability week. On Thursday it gave a bullish pin bar. Now this candle is called a bullish pin bar, and this is a bearish pin bar on DXY. So if I was looking for something on Friday, it would be buys, but literally in a week my bias changed 3 to 4 times, bro. That's not what you want to do. You want to trade with one bias, that is the weekly. If the weekly is going down, clear down bearish, then you want to trade with the weekly bias whenever the daily is aligning according to the daily repricing and the weekly repricing. Okay, so if it's aligning with that, you want to trade, or you don't. And also on Friday there was Euro Summit, Euro all day news. Whenever there is Euro all day news, the markets are very high probability to be manipulated whole day. So I don't like to trade those conditions. So on Friday if I was looking for something that would have been sells or buys, I was very confused. So even on Friday I just didn't trade it, bro. On Friday I didn't trade it. Look, I have not even marked any zones because I was so freaking confused. What will happen, what's going to happen? Because whenever you're confused, you don't want to trade, bro. Whenever you're confident, whenever you are in the flow state of mind, whenever you can see what's happening through your own eyes, that's when you want to trade. Whenever the market is not showing what's happening or what has the higher probability of happening next, that is exactly when you want to close your laptop and then do something else. Okay,